Alright guys, Asphalt 9 is about to turn 6 years old, and through all this time we have had all kind of events, cars and features being introduced to the game. Some of these new additions have been great and definitely made the game better, but it's true that some of those additions were not as good, and then right next to the deepest level of hell we have the mistakes. Yeah, because in this world of game development everyone makes mistakes, and Gameloft is no exception, but since we are only humans after all, today I will show you 5 of the worst things Gameloft introduced to Asphalt 9 Legends, which were so bad that they decided to step back and remove them altogether. So let's get into it. Before starting with this list, I would like to make some things clear. For this video, I will only add events or features that were definitely bad ideas and thus Gameloft realized and decided to remove them. But unlikely, we all know this doesn't mean Gameloft can't add them back in the future, so it is what it is. Oh, and by the way, since I don't personally consider the season tokens to be something necessarily bad, I didn't add them to this list, so don't expect them to appear. None of the events I'm about to tell you guys are in order of appearance or something like that. I just decided to name them in the order they came to my mind. So first of all, we have the Infected mode, Asphalt 9 Legends version. You know, the Infected mode was great in Asphalt 8, like for real. If you were infected on this mode, basically after touching an infected driver, you will have unlimited nitro and a bonus top speed, but you will have a countdown, and if the countdown ended, you will explode and die, respawning completely healthy. Well, I guess that if you are a somewhat old Asphalt 9 player, you already know that things didn't go as planned when they announced this game mode on Asphalt 9 Legends. And why? Well, it was basically because the Asphalt 9 devs completely ignored the entire concept of infected mode from Asphalt 8 and instead chose to make a game mode where if you collected one of the infected bottles of nitro that will appear on the track, you will have less nitro capacity and thus you wouldn't be able to shockwave and that stuff. In the end, the infected mode on Asphalt 9 ended up being like a normal classic race where you would only have to avoid the infected nitro bottles in order to do the exact same lap you could have done if the nitro bottles were the normal ones. This is basically something completely boring, which led to Gameloft removing the infected mode from Asphalt 9 shortly after being introduced. They only had one job though. We, the Asphalt 9 players, expected an infected mode like Asphalt 8, not something different, just the exact same thing, which would have been fine, but instead we got an infected mode from Wish.com. I mean, nothing forbids Gameloft from releasing a good version of this mode in the future, but it's quite unlikely, I would say. Alright, but now it's time to switch to the next fail. This is the Looper Prix. This one has been slightly more recent, but let's get real. It didn't last too long for a reason. The Looper Prix was basically a Grand Prix, but instead of racing against other racers, you will have to do one normal race, and at the next race you will be able to get a slipstream from your shadow, so theoretically you will be able to improve your lap over and over and over again with the extra nitro the slipstream gave to you on the previous race. The Arash AF8 Falcon Edition was the first car available through this Looper Prix, and after receiving community feedback, Gameloft decided that the next car released through Looper Prix, this is the Brabham BT62, would be a special event instead. Since then, not a single Looper Prix event appeared, so it's fair to assume that Gameloft scrapped the whole idea altogether. I got the chance to play the Looper Prix, and I have to admit that after the first 10 tries, it was just like another Grand Prix, and there wasn't that much of a difference, so I guess that's why Gameloft decided to remove it completely. Still, I have to admit that the concept wasn't as bad as the infected mode, because at least the Looper Prix mixed two features which were somewhat exclusive from Asphalt 9 Legends, which were the Grand Prix and the slipestream, so it didn't feel as bad as the infected mode in general, I have to say. I know that many of you guys were waiting for this, so yeah, it was a matter of time until the road test made its glorious appearance on this video. In case you are new to the game, in Asphalt 9 Legends we have one kind of events called Drive Syndicates, where you will get the chance to unlock a most of the times quite good car, as well as some extra required cars. Well, all what you need to know is that these events are extremely expensive to complete, but since some people actually spend money on this, like I did a few times in the past, and well, let's get real, I still do from time to time, the thing is that Gameloft thought about making more of these events, but since Drive Syndicates are costly to produce, since you have to set up a ton of different things, they came up with a road test, which was basically a Drive Syndicate but the lead version. Instead of using several cards, you only needed to grade a lone version of the Faraday Future, which was the only card ever released through this event, and once you completely max out the lone version, you will have the chance to get the equivalent of a 4-star Faraday Future, but I mean the real card, which you actually got to keep. Meanwhile, the lone version will be completely reset the next time a road test arrives, and you will have to repeat the process over and over again in order to completely max out the official Faraday Future. I guess that at this point you already know why this event was a complete fail. First, because not as many people went for this road test as they did with the Drive Syndicates, and second, because some people discovered a glitch they could use to keep all the upgrades of their lone version of the Faraday Future from one road test to the other, making Gameloft effectively stop releasing more road tests while they had a look into the glitch, and eventually choosing not to release any other road test altogether. One of the greatest things Gameloft has ever done to this game was easily removing this road test thing, not gonna lie. Because thanks to that, they re-released the Faraday Future on an Unleashed recently, where I got the chance to max it out, which is quite nice. Okay, so for the penultimate fail of this list, we have one of the things I pray God to never see again on this game. Season missions with specific card star requirements. I'm talking about the time when Gameloft decided to release the Lamborghini Countach 2022 as a Legends Pass exclusive card on a Raging Bull season where you needed to own some new cards up to 5 stars in order to match the requirements to complete the season tasks and thus obtain the key at the end of the season. During that season, Gameloft made sure that we wouldn't be able to skip Legends Pass levels with tokens, and that buying Legends Pass levels on the store would be twice as expensive as it used to be, just to make sure that most of the people would just try to meet the missions requirements instead. I remember I made a video about this specific season which I had to delete from YouTube because Gameloft didn't seem to like it too much. But these days, not gonna lie, I kinda regret it because it was a quite accurate depiction of how bad that season was. I guess that the results and community backlash made Gameloft realize how bad idea it was, so since then not a single season ever featured the same insane requirements, which I can assure you guys it's something really good. And on the last spot of this list we have absolutely insane offers. Yeah guys, I know, Asphalt 9 is widely known for being an extremely expensive game in case you want to have a somewhat decent account, but what you guys should know is that there are people in charge of making the bundles available in the shop, and as I said at the beginning of the video, we are only humans after all, so they make mistakes like everyone else does. It's just that when these guys make mistakes, those mistakes can lead to offers like a $5 pack giving 75,000 tokens instead of 75,000 credits, or something even crazier like these Nintendo Switch offers giving 600,000 tokens and 1,000 credits. In all of these cases, Gameloft allowed refunds and made sure to remove the extra tokens given by the packs from the account of whoever got them. And if you're wondering what could happen if you waste these tokens before Gameloft removed them from your account, you will end up having negative tokens. So it was completely worthless to make any use of those insane amount of tokens after purchasing them. Still, both cases were quite insane, and not gonna lie, it's true that Asphalt 9 prices are far too expensive for any kind of game in general, but now that I think about it, it wouldn't be that bad getting some actually worthy offers at some point in the future with a price tempting enough to get some people to feel satisfied with the money they are spending in this game. But reality is what it is, and you know, dreams are just that, dreams. But now it's your turn, guys. What do you think about all these fails where Gameloft had to step back, which is quite rare to see from any company these days? Do you remember any other fail that I might have missed on this video? Let me know in the comment section, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you really soon as usual with much more Asphalt 9 Legends content. Goodbye!